2018. And yeah, so there you go, Ernesto. See my shirt?
Oh, nice. I love that. I freaking
Yeah.
love that, dude.
Yeah, well, like my whole War on Pants campaign that I wage on social media, my sister-in-law actually got me this in Honduras.
I need to get me one of those.
Yeah, I'm actually not wearing pants right now either, so it's perfect. But yeah,
you don't have to get up to get a soda.
No, I got them both right here just for
you got two sodas.
So as usual, I'm Blaine, and we're back with Anthony and Ernesto. You guys can make some kind of vocal noise. I don't care. I won't be offended. Okay.
Good evening.
Oh,
so
that's classier.
Yeah, so it's January 25th. We're getting further and further away from. Well, actually, I guess January is sort of like the heart of winter.
Yeah, we're right smack in the middle here.
But we're not having that like that crazy Sub-Zero shit anymore, which I really enjoy. I don't mean like Mortal Kombat.
It's actually a nice 42 degrees here, so I'm pretty happy.
It's 54 here, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, Chicago is always about 10 degrees colder than St. Louis, like on average. So, yeah, tonight we'll be talking Whatcha Playin as usual. We're also going to touch a little bit on Anthem, BioWare, and EA with the recent announcements coming out of there. And then we'll kind of just leave the discussion open to see, what we stumble upon while we're talking. So let's go and get going. Anthony, what you been playing, or what are you going to play, or whatever?
So one of the things that I feel like we're doing a weird sort of fighting game renaissance all of a sudden, and the only reason I feel that way is because I mentioned Dissidia NT last week, which while it's not a traditional fighting game, it is still a fighting game. And then I've had my eye on Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and also the big update to Street Fighter V finally came out, like, what, 2.5 years after the game's original release, which was called, like, Street Fighter V Arcade Mode. Now, for those that actually own the original game, which I've owned for God knows how long, I think I saw one of the EVO finals and thought, I haven't done Street Fighter in a while, I'll pick that up. And then was reminded how badly I suck at it. I've owned the original copy for quite some time, haven't touched it, decided to fire it up for the arcade mode because that game was just broken. I mean, it's when I first got it, there was like nothing to do unless you wanted to play online. And I figured,
so wait, just to clarify, it wasn't so much broken as just like missing a ton of features.
Well, yeah, that's what I would call broken. Just because they promised, they were like, oh, it's single player, that'll be out in a few months. They added a story mode, which I downloaded, but it was so painful to watch the cutscenes, I sort of gave up on that about half an hour in. On the caliber of the Street Fighter II animated movie, it was not. So the arcade update, when I heard about
there was an animated Street Fighter II movie?
Oh, yeah.
I watched it with you, yeah.
Did we really?
Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It came out in like 94.
I must have been pretty wasted. Okay.
It had the soundtrack was incredible. It had Alice in Chains, KMFDM.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was like 90s the movie. Okay.
Pretty much. So the arcade mode basically patched in an actual arcade mode. Now the catch to this, and the reason that I actually bothered to plug back in my fight stick and give it a whirl, was they said that there was different arcade modes for each of the Street Fighter iterations. So it was like some ungodly amount of actual different separate arcade modes. Like there's a Street Fighter 1 arcade mode, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Alpha, 4, and 5. So I think that's all of them that they had. So I was just like, oh, hell, that sounds neat. I'll give it a shot. Now, here's the catch. So I decided to give it a shot on Street Fighter 1. It will give you the characters to select that were around when that game came out. So for Street Fighter 1, it only gives you a choice of, I didn't write it down, but there was just like a handful, I think like 6 characters.
What was the roster in Street Fighter 1? Do you remember?
I thought you could just play as Ryu, but I could be wrong on that because I thought it was single player.
Yeah, well, I'm going to look that up while you're talking about it.
So I was just like, okay, that's kind of neat. So you play through Street Fighter 1 was only 4 stages, and you play through it. And then Street Fighter 2, you play through 8 stages. And it all sounds well and good. Now, to nitpick on it, and I mean, nitpick or major flaw, I mean, that's sort of up in the air. I haven't really decided on it. So that roster may be made up of characters that you need to pay real money to unlock. So, like for Street Fighter 2, it just, hey, Guile's there. Oh, nope, can't use him. You gotta pay for him.
What?
And then, yeah, so it's kind of weird seeing like 2 or 3 out of like 8 characters that I can't even choose.
Fucking hell.
And then so like and then the second part, so Street Fighter 1 had 4 stages. The biggest thing about Street Fighter 1 in the end was Ryu leaving that huge scar across Sagat's chest. Right? Like that was the big thing. So silly me, I thought Sagat would be the boss, forgetting that I guess he's one of the season 3 characters. So Sagat doesn't exist yet.
Jesus.
So I beat just 4 random characters. And then the ending is, think of a page from a comic book. So about 3 panes and like a line of text. And that's the ending. So it shows him leaving Sagat's scar in like a single picture, the end, and that's it.
Huh.
So if you ever read like, oh, there's like 40 endings or whatever, an ending in this case is a single picture that you unlock. Now, cool, yeah, I mean, it's neat and it's free, so I don't want to crap on it too much, but they are re-releasing this as a full-priced game. So
That's criminal, dude.
That's where I'm a little bit more critical. Now, my understanding is if you pay the full price now, you get season 1 and 2 characters, but even then you don't get season 3. So
Yeah.
you still wouldn't get Sagat.
Uh,
So
I'll be able to get everything up except for the new stuff, right?
Yeah, so like the newest one of like 8 characters you wouldn't get. So if you went out today and paid $40 for the re-released arcade edition, I mean, I think it might even be cheaper if you just went out and got like a used copy of 5, which you can probably get for like $5-10 now, and then just bought like the character season 1 and 2 passes, because I think that's the only difference, because the patch for arcade mode is free. It's
Okay.
just it doesn't unlock any of the characters. Now, what I don't know, and here's where, do either of you, well, I know Blaine, you don't play it. So Ernesto, do you play Street Fighter 5 at all, or had you?
No, it was actually one of the last free games I got from being a GameStop manager before I left. And I played it a bit, but I heard so much negative stuff about it, I just deleted it right afterwards, and I never tried it again. But I did want to jump back into it now because I do own it. So I thought, since I already own it, and that they were going to make the arcade version available to me, I was going to get all that. But I didn't know about this 3rd season pass, so to speak.
Yeah, so, and plus you wouldn't have season 1 and 2, so you won't have Guile and crap like that either.
Awesome.
So real quick, arcade edition's $40 at GameStop. The character pass for season 3 is $30.
Okay.
So it's only
Jesus.
$70 for a 2.5-year-old game.
God. Wow. That's so Capcom though, man. I mean, that's so typically Capcom. Last thing, the roster for the first Street Fighter. Real quick. Name as many characters as you can.
Ryu, Ken, Sagat.
There's
Birdie?
9 more. What?
Cammy.
Birdie, not Cammy.
Yeah, Cammy was Super Street Fighter 2. And that's all I know.
You got anything, Ernesto?
Sakura?
8? No, there's 8
Alpha.
more. All right. So Adon, Birdie, Eagle, Geki, Gen, Joe, Ken, Lee, Mike, Retsu, Ryu, Sagat. So the humble beginnings of Street Fighter. And then, then years later, you can pay $70 and I guess you get some of those people.
So, and that's like the bad. What I can't figure out, so I played through Street Fighter 2, and what I don't remember is them having a lot of the stages that I played in. So you get near the end of Street Fighter 2, you fight the same boss progression minus Sagat because he doesn't exist yet. So you fight Balrog, then Vega, and then Bison. Well, they have their original stages redone with the original music redone. And I don't remember that being in the launch version of Street Fighter 5. That's why I was hoping that maybe if you guys remember that. Because if those were all added for free, I mean that's pretty cool. The other thing is they redid the bonus stages from the game. So like you remember where you got bust like 20 barrels or whatever?
Yeah.
That's in there. But they
Oh,
did a
cool.
weird twist where now there's a bad guy in there too, and the barrels bounce off a trampoline before they get to you.
What about the busting up a car? Is that in there?
That was not there, but I don't know if that's going to be in a different iteration because I thought somebody said that it was there. Here's another Easter egg though, and so I played Street Fighter 2 and I noticed it had like Cammy and Akuma, and I was like, well, that's sort of weird. So I guess it's just for all the iterations of Street Fighter 2. For those that don't remember, if you didn't lose a round, and I think it started maybe with Turbo or it might have been Super. If you didn't lose a round, you beat Bison, you'd have to fight Akuma, and that was like the first iteration of Akuma where he would completely slaughter you. The same thing happens here. So I just had it on easy just because I was screwing around. When you fight Akuma, he's on the hardest difficulty setting.
Huh.
He comes in after that and just demolishes you. And he also had a different costume, which was like his original Street Fighter 2 costume. So, but I couldn't play as Akuma because once again, he's a season 3 character. So it's one of those like I see some cool aspects of it, but my God, it's killed by their pricing. Like it's just ridiculous. And it's a shame because I'd probably spend a little more time with it if the character passes were $8 or something. I'd be like, okay, that's cool, like $1. If, even there, so $30, that's 8 characters. So you're talking like, I mean, $4 a character.
That's insane.
I mean, it bugs me, and you can unlock it with in-game currency, but it costs like 100,000 to unlock a character. And so I had enough from all I've played in the past and up until now. So since I've owned the game, to get one character unlocked, which I never spent because I didn't want to waste it on one character.
So it's like Battlefront 2.
Before Battlefront 2.
Damn.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like the whole thing in Battlefront 2, they're like, I can't play a such and such character.
Yeah.
And then EA's like, well, technically you can unlock it with in-game currency. And then someone's like, motherfucker, I'd have to play. It's something like, I don't even, it was like hundreds of hours to unlock everybody or something like that. But,
well, with this, it's sort of my understanding is you cannot earn enough through single player. So you'd have to play like online matches, which I just don't want to do in Street Fighter. It's
Right.
just not fun for me. I'll play against a friend if they're sitting next to me or online, or I just want to play against the computer just because it's almost for nostalgia at this point.
Right.
I wish Mark was in chat so that he could defend his game.
Oh, mechanically, I think it is awesome, and that's why I tried to get back into it. Is I've liked how the Street Fighter games have played. I've always loved it. That's why I'm nostalgic for it. It's just their pricing model is just brutal.
Well, yeah, I remember you kicking my ass in Street Fighter 3 on the Dreamcast at work.
Oh,
way
yeah.
way back when.
Third Strike, I loved. I was one of the weirdos that loved that game because I just thought it played really, really well. So yeah, I have a huge history of it. It's just.
Well, I remember when we had that in the demo unit, like the food court guys would come over and like play the hell out of it. But I remember some of them were complaining. They're like, "You need to get Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back in here because this is too hard," or something. I was like, I don't know shit about shit.
Well, yeah, that's how I got all my discounts because we play for discounts.
Oh, that's right. Oh man.
So it's like I get the free Mrs. Fields cookies. Quiznos was skimped out. The guy from Quiznos could just give me free drinks because he said they weighed the meat, which was
that's lame.
Yeah, and then the guy at the skater shop across the way gave me free stuff, which isn't a skater. So yeah, I forgot his name.
Well, didn't you get that awesome MGS2 shirt or MGS shirt from there?
I got that, and I got a pair of pants with a lot of zippers.
Oh, fair enough. So what else you got?
So I mentioned it briefly, but Dragon Ball Fighter Z, that doesn't come in the mail till tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to playing that when it comes in. I went ahead and ordered it. I had some Best Buy credit, so I figured, what the hell. Dragon Ball was one of my anime guilty pleasures when I was younger, and the game just, I've never seen a game look so close to the source material as this one looks. And it looks like they're doing it right. So I really, really hope that it holds up. The reviews seem to say it holds up. It has the three on three, so sort of akin to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So I hope it lives up to what it looks like, because I didn't play in any of the betas. I just missed them. I don't keep up with a lot of the beta dates. So I'm hoping that is everything that it looks to be, and it has a really robust single player, because I don't have much interest in playing online. And then I also have Dissidia NT coming in, I think, Monday. So it's basically a world full of fighting games, and Horizon, I'm getting closer to the end.
How far are you now?
I am on I just finished the mountain that fell and got the stealth, or the armor that has the shield.
Yeah.
Time to go do the Frozen Wilds.
I have that. I was going to wait to do. I just been cleaning up side quests.
Yeah.
Okay, so do it before you finish the game. Yeah.
Why?
Because the DLC
place.
came out just as I was ready to go to the last mission, and Blaine told me to do it that way. And it's actually better because the ending is the ending of the game. I mean, you can explore afterwards, but story-wise, it's better if you do the DLC.
Yeah, it's a Mass Effect ending where once you finish the game, it's like, and you're back at the moment right before the ending. So just do the Frozen Wilds and then go finish the game. And story-wise, it makes more sense that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of backwards, because the difficulty, the only reason I was going to do it the other way around was due to difficulty reasons. I figured it would be such a cakewalk to do the actual ending before the Frozen Wilds.
It'll still be a cakewalk, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna. What's your level? Do you have any idea?
44 or 45.
Yeah, you're ready.
You're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the great thing about the Frozen Wilds is the first enemy you face in there will humble you. And like, if you've not learned how to use your arsenal of weapons, you're gonna fucking learn.
I only use like one weapon, and I spam the slowdown from hopping like a rabbit.
Okay, well, you may get your spirit totally broken, but it's good because actually, like the main game teaches you how to play it generally. The Frozen Wilds makes you like really learn how to play how to do the combat, which I really appreciated.
Like, I'm still playing on normal, and I have no problem with Thunderjaws, like fighting one or two of those.
Then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're ready. If you can take on a Thunderjaw without breaking the sweat, then you're ready.
Yeah, I take them out in close combat, kind of.
Yeah, well, are you using the rope caster yet?
No, I haven't needed to, except on the flying enemies.
Well, best of luck.
So, they're good.
Did you spam the slowdown from hopping like a bunny rabbit?
No, I just like rope casted like 60,000 rope cast things into it and tore it apart and then stabbed it to death.
Oh yeah, so once you bring up your bow to aim, when you jump, it slows down time as if you're using concentration. So so I hold down the aim button, and I literally hop like a rabbit, and nothing can get me.
That's gonna change real fast. I promise you. You're gonna.
When I came into that first enemy from the Frozen Wilds, I was like, "Whoa, okay!" It felt like Dark Souls for a second. Like I was relearning the game, and just super tough, in your face, won't like stop for a second, and it's a learning experience.
Well, I have to do something besides my bow.
Yeah, you're gonna use your rope caster. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But it's fine because like I'm taking away some of the learning experience for you. What I should have done is just let you get raffle stomped and then made you come ask us. because that would have been more enjoyable. So I'm kind of a dick. So Dragon Ball thingy, you're expecting that to be better than Dragon Ball GT, the highest trade-in game from when we worked at Babbage's?
Oh God, that game was terrible. I own that.
Oh my God, do you really?
No, I
That
did.
was like
when it first
that was the
came
holy
out,
grail.
I told you this, and I was pissed because I sold it for like what I paid, which was like $35. Because I just bought it at Best Buy one day. I saw it came out. I was like, holy crap, a US released Dragon Ball game. I love Dragon Ball. I bought it. It was awful. Like, it was a terrible game. Little did I know that I'd sell it to a classmate in high school for like $40, and then I'd see it selling for 300.
Yeah, I really like I think the trade-in we offered like close to 100 or maybe a little over.
Yeah,
for
it
that.
was that, and for a while, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Xbox or something.
Yeah, it was after my time. Yeah, but not too bad Turok on Xbox. It's funny, like there was I had an EB Games in Chicago refused to take Turok on Xbox and trade in because they were like, seriously, we're just gonna like penny it out. We're not gonna take it. And I was like, okay, and I just like threw it on the floor there and walked out. Because I was like, fuck you. For some reason I felt like that was making a statement. Like, oh, you're not gonna take my game? Yes, you are. And yeah, so actually, I think you were with me when I bought that.
I
You
may
showed
have
down.
been. I remember you playing it because we had fond memories of it on N64. But
Yeah, and then EGM created the Tobias Bruckner Award for the worst game every year because like that was the final boss in Turok for Xbox. And then there was another one on 360. It was also called Turok, and it was not as bad.
I just remember you playing it on Xbox, and there was some jump really early on that you couldn't make.
Oh God.
And you just kept doing it and falling, and I was just laughing.
I hated that game. I really did. It soiled my beloved N64 Turok memories. Oh well. So all right, let's see. I played some Lost Sphere this week. Not a true.
I want you to sell me on this game. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
So the more I played Lost Sphere, the more it solidified how much I didn't like Setsuna, even though I really wanted to. Everything about Lost Sphere appealed to me more than Setsuna. Part of this is because I'm a bigger Final Fantasy fan than I am Chrono. I love the Chrono games, but Final Fantasy is like embedded in my DNA by this point. And the game, like the bulk of it really feels like a Super NES Final Fantasy game. The combat, what I really like is not. I mean, like if you've played a Super Nintendo Square RPG, you're going to feel right at home in the combat. Like you're going to immediately intuit what you're supposed to be doing. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to do a quick sound check, make sure I'm not echoing. The bulk of it really feels okay, good. Like... So, and the combat is not like okay, so with Setsuna, I got into the combat, I'm like, oh, this is Chrono Trigger. And okay, with this, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like they're not directly cloning like a combat system, which I was like, well, that's fantastic, but it's still cool. I'm very, very, very early in the game. The overworld feels like Chrono Trigger. That's fine. The plot is immediately 1,000 times more interesting to me than Setsuna ever was. The translation, and again, it's still early. The translation feels a little too literal. I was joking on my stream that Japanese conversations are reminiscent of TCP/IP, where there's this like, in English and in Spanish and in French and all the Romantic or Germanic languages, we have a lot of shorthand in our conversations, whereas the Japanese there's a lot more formality. And I'm saying this thing, and then the person says, "Yes, I understood that you said that thing," and there's just like a much greater level back and forth. in terms of the translation, that's all there. And after a while, I was like, oh my god, fucking X button, you know.
That's how every JRPG is.
Yeah, I know. But this one, for some reason, it was. And this could be like I don't play
this one I'm playing.
Well, this could be a product of the fact I don't play as many JRPGs as I used to. I used to play nothing but JRPGs for like 15 years or something, and I still play a handful now, just not nearly what I used to. And so that grated on me. That was really the only thing where I was like, I'm getting irritated. But it wasn't a big deal.
So would you say this is like the Legend of Dragoon to your Final Fantasy?
No, it is way better than Legend of Dragoon. Yeah, my old roommate Kensuke was like the biggest Legend of Dragoon apologist. I remember, was that Drakengard?
What?
Was that Drakengard?
No.
No, Drakengard is Dragon.
You said it was Drakengard. Sorry, I don't. Different series. I never saw him play it because I moved out before that due to the freakiness of the rubber ducky collection.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he loved his rubber duckies. But yeah, he loved Legend of Dragoon and like replayed it for like a second time while we were living together. And I was like, oh, it's like store brand Final Fantasy. Great. As usual, I was in the minority on that one. So yeah, Lost Sphere. I'm actually looking forward to playing more. I never felt that way with Setsuna.
Like, are you able to explain a little bit of the story without spoiling anything, or just what it's about?
I could, but I'm not going to. Like, there's just play it. I mean, it's much snappier in terms of its pacing with the story. Okay. So whereas like, Setsuna was like endless cock tease where there's like, we promise something interesting is going to happen eventually. And then I got a few hours into that. I was like, fuck this game. But yeah, like Setsuna, I kept pushing myself. I'm like, you will get to a part where it will click. And playing Lost Sphere, I'm like, okay, well, maybe once I finish this, I'll be better prepared to go back into Setsuna and like really have that click or have this aha moment. But with this, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. So there's that, and then I also got Red Strings Club this week, which I'm looking forward to playing this weekend. It's from the guys who did The Gods Will Be Watching. So it's a retro, like 8 to 16-bit looking adventure game, and it's cyberpunk. And I think you play as a robot bartender or something like that. I don't know. I purposely avoided too many details about it because I like going into these fresh.
This is on Steam, or is this like early access, or is this?
No, it's on Steam. No, it's out on Steam right now. And you totally fucking interrupted my thought train, dude. Oh, the biggest thing though, aside from the cyberpunk setting that almost had me like ejaculating everywhere, was the fact that there's a greater emphasis on dialogue and story than puzzles. And I was like, and you guys know, fuck puzzles. I don't do puzzles. I do them all day at work. I don't like to do them in my spare time. And then the last things. Well, Monster Hunter World unlocks tonight. Does it? Ernesto, do you know?
I don't know. I couldn't pre-order it.
Okay.
But I'm going to play it tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, it should unlock by midnight Pacific time. Okay.
So I'll be playing some of that, and then as usual, I'll sneak in some Elder Scrolls somewhere. And yeah, so how about you, Ernesto? What you got?
So right now, I'm kind of in a transition. I just finished SteamWorld Dig 2 yesterday. It was so good. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It took the formula of the original, and it just expanded. The caves were all very interesting to explore, and it rewarded exploration like very few games do, because everything you would find, the collectibles and anything, they're not just useful collectibles. They work as currency. and you can take this currency and unlock better perks for your gear. So, for example, you can upgrade your pickaxe to do faster and better mining. But then every time you every time you level it up, you unlock a new perk for it that you can equip. Like, let's say, when you hit an enemy with the pickaxe, you heal up. So that's a perk. But to equip that, you need a type of currency, which is the collectibles of the game. There's golden gears. So you need 3 golden gears. So if you're out exploring and you're finding them, you're already set to go. Otherwise, you're screwed up and you can't use the perk. So it rewards you like going out of your way and exploring and finding all these collectibles. And then there's also artifacts that you find, and every time you find there's an archaeologist in the town, and he'll say, oh, if you find 6 artifacts, I'll give you a new perk. And then you get that perk, and then you get more gears to unlock that perk. So it's just a cycle of going down, getting upgrades, getting money, getting more collectibles, and then going up, equipping them, and then you're doing much better in the game. I fell in love with that cycle of going down, exploring, coming up, like getting better equipment, getting better stuff, and then keep going down. Like every time you get a new equipment or power up, it just changes the way you play. Because early in the game, you get a hook shot, for example, and that just totally changes everything. Like the way you can zip up and down the caves as you mine them. And later on, you get even better stuff. And every time you get a power up, it just changes the way you play the game. And I really enjoyed it. I had a blast with it. The story was interesting. The graphics were great. Music was awesome. So I had a blast. So I finished that last night, and then I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now? So I really want to finish the Zelda DLC because I want to be done with Zelda. I've been playing that game on and off for a year now, and I'm done. I just want to move on to something different. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing right now. But I've been trying a couple things. Real quick, I started Darkest Dungeon, which I bought for Steam. Really cool.
That is such a you game, dude. That is
right.
it is nothing but fucking pain.
Yeah, man. It's like you're just praying to the RNG Jesus that you won't get poisoned or that your attack will connect. And most of the time, like things just don't work in your favor. But it's a gorgeous like turn-based RPG, beautiful graphics, awesome setting. Like I'm just really digging the story. I didn't know like looking at it before. I didn't know it was like a Lovecraft type of game. And I'm really digging that. So, but I'm like at the very beginning. I really didn't play much of it. So I also played this game for Switch, but I believe it's also on Steam, called Blossom Tales, and it's kind of like what people say it's a clone of Link to the Past, but to me it looks more similar to Link's Awakening. So it's a Zelda clone, and it has really pretty graphics. I'm really digging the story, and it's just more Zelda. So if you're into the mood, like to try an old school 16-bit Zelda, it's the way to go. And that's pretty much everything I'm playing right now. I'm just going all around trying different things. Super Mario RPG. I think it's gonna be the next one. And tomorrow I'm gonna be playing Monster Hunter. Hopefully. I was gonna try. You almost convinced me to try Lost Sphere, but it's really not in my budget right now. I'm just gonna wait for it to go down in price, and I'll get it later. Because when I played the demo, I did enjoy the combat a lot. The way you can move around and you'll see the AOE of your attack and you can actually manipulate it to attack several foes at once. I really enjoy that part of it. It's just I think really the demo is a bad demo. It just doesn't showcase what the game is about that well. It showcases the combat, but not really the other factors of the game. So the way they dropped you in the middle of a quest, I was kind of confused by the story. I ended up not paying attention to it. So I think if I do try it, I'm gonna have a good time. I enjoyed Setsuna. I agree that it wasn't the best game out there, and the story was kind of whatever. It was kind of forced, but I had a good time with it. Like the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it. But the Lost Sphere already looks better by the fact that the soundtrack has more instruments than a piano.
That was a big difference. Like when I got out on the open world map and there was actually more than just a ding, 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 ding. Like I was like, oh, thank God.
It felt like I felt like a high school play, and you have the guy with the piano.
Yeah, God, that's apt. Yeah.
So, whereas Lost Sphere looks better in that respect, but it's really not in the budget, so I'm gonna focus on Monster Hunter for the rest of the weekend, and that may be my main game that I'll be talking about next week.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like you're talking about budget, and dude, you know, I I almost did a really dumb. Well, actually, I wouldn't have been dumb. I almost did a very impulsive thing today, where there's at work there one of the junior developers sits across from me. And I've mentioned this guy before. Actually, he's been in the chat a few times before. Where he is the anime guy, the JRPG guy, the Nintendo guy. Like, he's 23, 24, something like that.
Is that the guy who killed Odyssey in 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, he was the one I was like, oh, you poop socked it. He was like, that's disgusting, but okay. I was like, that's just what it's called. Like if anyway. So yeah, I almost bought a Switch and Zelda today. Like I had it in my cart for Best Buy to pick up after work. And I just sat there staring at it. And I left it there for like an hour. I was like, well, because he was going on and on. And like, he brings in his Switch every day and like just plays games on it. But then he got talking about Octopath.
To bring that into work is just the best, dude. Like just chilling in your break and just nothing better, man.
And especially for, like we're in our little cubicles and we're talking about games all day anyway. And then he just whips out his Switch. But we got talking about Octopath Traveler. And I was like, fuck, I really want that game. I was like,
that is a good demo.
Well, and I was like, that's a Switch exclusive, isn't it? And he's like, yeah. Like, and he said it this way, like, of course, you dumbass. I was like, so that means no Steam, right? And he was like, not this one. And I was like, fuck, dude. And he's like, yeah, it's the Bravely Default team, except I think this time they're not going to hamstring themselves. And
yeah, it looks like they grow, to be sure.
So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to buy a Switch for Octopath Traveler because that would be crazy. But I might buy a Switch for Octopath Traveler. We'll see. But yeah, but otherwise, like, and we were talking about this around the One Up Rejects offices this week, as well as like in the public house, how we're now breaking into the new releases for 2018, where, from roughly the week after, actually really like roughly from like Thanksgiving to a few weeks after Christmas, there are a handful of releases, but like, again, you guys kept mocking me for this because like I was like, no, we're gonna do the fucking best of 2017 in 2018. Go fuck yourselves. And then you guys like, oh, because of all those great releases that come out December 29th, But yeah, so like we're now past that point where, I mean, we're talking Monster Hunter World, Lost Sphere, and then really soon next week is Final Fantasy 12 on Steam, I think.
Oh wow!
Said like Feb 1 or Feb 2. You still can't pre-order it though, which is really
strange. It's fun. I keep checking it like every day, every other day. Well, and Squeenix is doing this cutesy little thing on Steam now called the Day One Edition, where there's certain DLC you only get if you pre-ordered it.
Day One, a year after the PS4 release.
Well, and however many years after the PS2.
Right, yeah.
And then
Steam Day One.
Well, and Lost Sphere the same thing, where there's exclusive DLC if you pre-ordered it, and it's not. I mean, it's nothing major. It's like maybe it's a funny hat or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was crap DLC, but you got the game for 20% off.
Yeah, and I mean, which is that's standard for Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like. Every Steam game that you pre-order is 20% off. So, hey, look at that.
I hate that so much. This is a box ruiner right here.
Yeah, I hate what like the old green label PlayStation 1 games. I
Ugh.
fucking hated that. Like, and I remember at work,
Going neon green.
like at work, I would actually swap out cases for my games at home. Like someone would trade in a black label PS1 game that I had green label at home.
The PS2 look a little better with the dark red.
Yeah. But still, it was like, oh, you're a fucking poser. You own the poor people edition. But yeah, and like FF15, I think has the same thing. But anyway, yeah, like we're getting into this period now where it's like, FF12's coming up, and then I was looking through my release calendar today, and I had it kind of memorized, but yeah, FF15's on the horizon for Steam, and then Far Cry 5 is coming up, and like there's some other shit too. But the big one for me got announced today, and I am so excited, and I can't quite remember the date. Shit. Anyway,
Excitement. Deleted your memory. What is the game?
Pillars of Eternity 2.
Ah.
I actually tweeted at Mikey Dowling and Katrina Garston because I like if you guys remember, I was telling them at PAX South, I'm like, you are not going to hit spring. If you were, you would have announced by now. You are not going to hit spring. You would have given a date by now if you were. And so today I tweeted at them like, oh, sorry about that. Sorry I doubted you. Now it could still get delayed, obviously, but it's right there at the beginning of baseball season. It's like April 2nd, 3rd, 5th, something like that. It's the first Tuesday in April, and I'm so fucking stoked for that game. And that means that in addition to Monster Hunter World and Red Streaks Club and Lost Sphere and Final Fantasy 15, I'm going to put 12 off to the side for a while because, I'm one of the millions that are going to buy it and go, I have it on Steam. That's great. And then just put it to the side.
You could just wait for a Steam sale because I might do that just to see how it looks on PC.
Well, it's going to look great, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be relatively cheap. I think. I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be $40. Yeah, that's what it costs.
I need the day one DLC, man. I need that funny hat for Vaughn.
What I hate about day one editions is that DLC is usually like a sword, and then 30 minutes into playing, you got a better sword. It's like,
I remember. Oh my God, Tony, you might remember this. So Dragon Age 2 had a Dead Space 2 outfit.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I fucking bought Dead Space 2 twice because I had Dead Space 2 on PS3 because I played through all the Dead Space games on PS3 for whatever reason. And then obviously I was getting Dragon Age 2 on PC. So I fucking went out and bought Dead Space 2 on PC, just so I could get the fucking outfit for Dragon Age 2, and even better, it wasn't for the class that I was playing at at launch. And just like you're saying, the first few levels, you leave it behind because it's not scalable.
Well, that's the thing, because I was talking with a friend today, because like I said, I'm not pre-ordering Monster Hunter because I have a coupon for 20% off, but you can't use coupons on pre-orders. So I have to wait. I have to wait until tomorrow to use the coupon.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine is like, but you're going to miss out on the pre-order bonuses. I'm like, listen, dude, I work at GameStop. I know how shitty pre-order bonuses are. Like, I still remember the DLC for pre-ordering that Black Flag Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, you get an island. You get a whole island for pre-ordering. And it's like this little amount of dirt in the middle of nowhere with like super shitty gear. I was like, oh my God. Like I don't care about pre-orders. Like,
wasn't there the reverse of the, like I seem to remember Mass Effect 2, I could get Dragon Age armor.
Yeah, so so Dragon Age Origins and Mass Effect 2, if you owned both of them for the same system, you got armor in each. And then that actually carried over to Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age 2. But it's funny, like I remember one of the pre-order armors. So Mass Effect 2, there were like a stupid number of retailer specific pre-order bonuses. And
I thought that it was
What?
like you could also get crap through Dr. Pepper or something caps.
something like that, and I got all those. I bought a shitload of whatever that soda was and got them all. But what the like Dragon Age Origins had retailer specific, and so did Mass Effect 2. However, on PC, the way they did it was just codes. Or no, I'm sorry, it was codes that unlock files. But then someone was like, "What if I just grab the files and stuff them into my game?" And guess what? It worked. And so for Origins, I have a whole shitload of like really rare retailer specific DLC, and the Mass Effect 2, the same thing as well. But I had to do a fix because the game tries to validate all your DLC via the Cerberus network, and so I had to put in something that actually like slightly crippled that so that I could have all the retailer specific DLC. But here's the thing: the pre-order, but like most of them are armors that are totally stupid, that I don't want, and like a lot of them completely cover Shepard's face, and that just bugs me. I want to see Shepard's face during cutscenes instead of like blinking lights. You know, like that's what I don't use the Blood Dragon armor for that reason. But yeah, Monster Hunter World, the pre-order bonuses, you get a special theme. This is for PS4. You get a special theme. Nobody cares. Origin set, whatever that means, and Fairwind Charm. And that's it. So I don't think you're missing hardly anything.
Yeah, I'll be good. I don't care. But
Yeah.
it's just funny to me because like this time last year, by the end of January, I had Yakuza 0, Resident Evil 7, and Gravity Rush 2. I had 3 Game of the Year contenders. And like I'm finishing the month now, and like I have no doubt Monster Hunter is gonna be great because I already played the hell out of it in the betas. But it's like, wow, this is a way more laid back year. But then I'm looking at the calendar and I have Monster Hunter this month. Next month I have Shadow of the Colossus and the remake for I forgot the name, Radiant Historia, which is Chrono
really?
Cross. Yeah, it's a time traveling RPG that came out for DS. They're remaking it for the 3DS, and it's coming out February, I believe.
Fuck.
I gotta check on that. Yeah. And then in March I have Ni no Kuni 2, and in April I have God of War. And I think I don't really recall anything else coming out. But even though I have 1 game per month, it's still way more relaxed than it was last year. So I'm just trying to figure out the whole budget, and that's why I said I wasn't gonna get last year. I'm gonna try to get 1 game per month, and like focus on that. And if I have extra time, focus on my backlog. Like I still haven't played Nier Automata, Yakuza 0. I haven't played. So there's a bunch of stuff that I have sitting here. I mean, this damn thing. I just noticed that it's sealed. So the day 1 edition, the code's in there probably expired. So what the hell, man? I'm out of control. And I had Jorge come up to me yesterday. He's like, dude, you gotta play Iconoclast. It's like right up your alley. You gotta try it out. It's this kind of Metroidvania with beautiful sprite art work that came out on PS4. And I'm like, no, dude, like I'm trying to stay up games. There's this other game that came out on Switch called Celeste, which is like a challenging platformer. So there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm just trying to control myself and focus on my backlog and like drive the budget down so that I only buy 1 game per month.
Okay, so the remake for Radiant Historia is on 3DS.
Yes.
Okay, so I will probably not get it then. Okay. I mean, I have a 3DS, but I don't know. I actually, my son at PAX South introduced me to this thing called Street Pass.
Yeah.
And he was like, Dad, how do you not know about Street Pass? And I was like, dude, I've turned this 3DS on like 3 times ever. And I think all 3 were attempts at Bravely Default, but
they should totally do Street Pass for the Switch. Because it was huge for 3DS. I would use it a lot. Like if you go to conventions and stuff like that, like you get a bunch of hits. And I would just go downtown Chicago, just go to Millennium Park and get a ton of hits. Like it was really fun. But nobody uses the 3DS anymore. So
Well, PAX
what
South.
about?
So PAX, one of the things that they like make a thing about is like bring your 3DS and use Street Pass. And a
Trying
lot
to keep
of
it alive.
well, and like I guess like DS and 3DS are both big parts of PAX. And so yeah, there was like a shitload of 3DSs there. And yeah, so that was interesting.
Cool.
Uh,
They
yeah.
should definitely do it for the Switch though. Like I would start using that a lot.
Well, and it's interesting. I was looking at the release calendar, and like just on one of my Facebook streams this week, I don't remember which one. I was like, I'm getting a glut of games now, and then it kind of tapers off once you get into March, and then like it's as if Obsidian heard me say that, because then they're like, "Aha, motherfucker! Boom! April Pillars 2," and you were talking about last year how there was like like a fire hose of great games to start out the year,
Mhm.
and it never really let up.
No,
Like
just constant.
well, and
I remember being like, "Shit, should I start Horizon? Because Zelda comes out next week." So
well, and I remember a specific moment. I was out by the pool at my parents' house in Key West, set up at the bar. The moment the Mass Effect Andromeda was unlocking, if you paid an extra few dollars for the early access, whatever bullshit, where I was like, yeah, I'm one of the people destroying gaming. That's fine. And it was like this perfect moment. Is like, it's Key West and it's awesome and it's great. And as I was starting the game, I was thinking back. I was like, I started Horizon Zero Dawn back at home. I'm not going to touch that game again for like 6 months. I'm telling myself I'm taking a few weeks away from it, then I'm going to go back to it. That's a fucking lie. I didn't, and like we've talked about on here, I didn't touch it again until I was forced to because of surgery.
right.
And it was like one of the best games I've played in a while.
It's funny because I think that means we all dropped it for however many months.
Everyone
Yeah,
did.
I didn't get to. Yeah. When I played, it was like what, October? Yeah,
Something like that. It was right after I did. Or no, I think you were picking it back up as I was wrapping it up. And
right.
Because I was like, dude, play this game. And then like it's funny.
It was October because I came back right at the beginning of October from my vacation, and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready now for Horizon. So yeah.
Right. And yeah, it's I remember on podcasts like and web shows, people talking about like, oh, I finally picked Horizon Zero Dawn back up, and it's great. And yeah, I think this year, I'm honestly hoping that good games throttle back for a little while.
Me too.
Like I get to April and then nothing good comes out for 4 months. That's what I really want.
Yeah, that's like I'm looking at the release schedule. And I'm like, I think I'm like I said, I have every game one per month until April, and then I don't see anything else. So I'm like, great, I can catch up on all my stuff. But then, like in summer, we're gonna have E3, and who knows what's gonna be announced? So we'll see.
Yeah, and
to be fair, if you think about what you've mentioned so far, I mean, Shadow of the Colossus remake, FF12 remake, FF15 remake. So we say that there's not as many games. Also, I mean, half the Radiant Historia remake, half this crap is a remake or a re-release. So it really is, compared to last year, a hell of a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah, that's a good point. The only thing I will correct you on is that FF12 and 15 are ports rather than remakes.
Well, and FF12, well, they make the argument they're both remakes by Square standards, but
that's bullshit. Like they're up-resed. I mean, that's it.
Well, no,
like
FF12 they changed the gameplay.
It's the Zodiac International Edition. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, which actually I'm thrilled about because okay, so
Final Fantasy 12 HD is a remake, but the Steam version is a port of the PS4 version.
They're all ports. They're up-res ports. That's okay. Because a remake, okay, Resident Evil on GameCube was a remake. Like that and the original Resident Evil are distinct games. Whereas Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac, whatever Japanese edition on PS2 and the PS4 version.
Okay.
It's
Call it a
up-res.
director's
All right.
cut then.
So
They're
Resident
like-
Evil on GameCube is a remake. Final Fantasy 12 on PS4 is a remaster.
Fine, whatever makes you feel better.
Okay.
You know, like
Because
whatever.
it's not a straight up port because I didn't have all that job system, the new mode. I didn't have the cheats to like speed up the gameplay.
Aha. Wait a
all that
minute,
stuff.
no, because the Japanese Zodiac whatever version on PS2 did have all that. That's what, because like,
But it didn't have the fast forward and all that stuff. That
Maybe
they added.
not.
Just call it a director's cut. It's the
Okay.
director's cut of FF12, never before released in the US, and
It's
now
not-
ported to PC from PS4. So
not
it's
a direct. It's a finished
it's-
version.
Remaster.
Well, that's sort of the way that they've always done them in Japan, though, because there was an international version of FF7 onward, I think.
Yeah, no, for FF7 there was. I don't think they did another one until 12. Because I think 8 they were like, oh, you can draw even more magic. I don't know. I mean, actually no, fuck. I think there was a version of 8 where they changed something about monster scaling to your level or something. I don't know. No, that was the PC version. That's what that was. Like they changed up the way that the monster scaling works.
And that PC version of Final 8 is so bad, dude.
There was an international version of FF10 also.
Oh, great. So does he whine even more? And actually, no, like the Steam version of FF8, so like the Steam version of 7, 8, 9 are okay with the exception of the pre-rendered backgrounds in 9, where they literally upscaled the assets from the PlayStation version because they lost the original assets. The bad ports for Steam are the Super NES ones, which are shovelware ports of the iOS versions, and it's almost kind of offensive.
I couldn't
you
play
wanted to
Final
be-
Fantasy 8 on Steam. Like I bought it and I can't play. Like it just runs so bad.
So you want to be sickened by the silly things that they've done. So they did Final Fantasy VII International. They did a Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII International.
Why? That was such a bad game.
Almost every Japanese game for Final Fantasy would have an international edition.
So they did
Oh my
Final Fantasy
God.
X International. So there wasn't one for 8 or 9. Then they did Final Fantasy X2 International plus Last Mission. Final
Jesus.
Fantasy 12 International Zodiac Job System.
Yeah, remember that
13
one.
Ultimate Hits International. Dissidia Final Fantasy Universal Tuning, and Bravely Default for the sequel.
For the
Weird.
sequel, it was the version that we got here because they added stuff to link it to Bravely Default too.
And see, what drives me nuts about the international edition, so like they're like, oh, they call it international, but it's only in Japan.
Well, no,
Like
it's
that is-
meant to. A lot of times, it was meant to incorporate things that were added to the Europe or US releases because those would come out like a year later.
Right.
Yes.
It would
Okay,
have
so
improvements and stuff, so they would add it backwards.
So to the Japanese audience, it's the
international.
version.
Yeah.
except for Final Fantasy 12, which they call international. Well, actually, no, do they not? Is it just
They call
Zodiac
it
Jobs?
International Zodiac Job System.
Yeah, see, and like they're fucking lying because they're the only ones that got that system, and so it's national. It's not international.
Well,
Kingdom
no, that's
Hearts
what
is
they
the
do.
same way. They had the I forget the name of it, but they had a special edition, and it had stuff that we never got here.
That's fucked up. I don't know. Well, and also like I adore some of the Japanese titles because I think they do some of them the same way they do shirts in English, where they just assemble random words that they think sound cool together. Actually, Dave Barry has a
Infinite on Discovery. I'll never forget that one.
There you go. But yeah, Dave Barry is a fantastic book about being an American in Japan, where he just makes all these like gaijin type observations. But yeah, there's one moment where he sees like a little 8-year-old girl, and she's wearing this shirt that says "King Chicken Fucker," and he was like, "Do I say something to her? Like, what? How do I?" He's like, and he just walked away. He was like,
Yeah, don't even like that battle.
So yeah, but yeah, like I'm really excited, and I think Tony and you and I were talking about this, but like, or maybe it was Joel, I can't remember. Anyway, but like the consolidation of all the Final Fantasy series on the Steam, from like one machine. This is what my Vita was supposed to be. where I got I think we're still missing 1 and 2.
Are you? You should have 1 and 2.
Not on Steam. Like
Yeah,
I got it.
We were going through them though because the versions that they have are a real hit or miss. Because I think that we actually went through this like a few weeks back on this show.
No, I think it was last week while Ernesto was cooking.
Oh,
And
that was a long time ago.
yeah, but yeah, because it has the shitty versions of 3 and 4 where it's the polygon you're rendering instead of like the sprites. And
that's why I bought the. They had Final Fantasy IV. The best version to me is the complete edition. They have it for PSP.
No.
And I bought it for Vita. They had it for $4.99 the other day.
No, 4, 5, and 6 advance on the GBA.
Yeah.
Those were, for me, those are the definitive versions. Now,
well, you should really check out the complete for PSP because it looked great, sounded awesome. They redid the script, and it had all the DLC from the WiiWare version. So it was like the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it?
I have it. Yeah. But yeah, like the advanced versions, because I remember like the big selling point at the time was like they touched up the sprites so they're a little more detailed, and then they fixed some of the translation stuff, and then they added back in the stuff to 4 and 6 that had been cut for American audiences, more so with 4. Right, 4 there was a whole lot of shit cut out.
The downside to them is 6 in particular, because I have 6 Advance, has washed out colors, and the soundtrack, the music chipset in the GBA isn't as good as the SNES. So the music ends up suffering quite a bit.
Yeah, actually, I grabbed this thing this week called Retro Achievements, and they are emulators for PC that you play like ROMs in that give you achievements for the And so the first thing I grabbed was the Game Boy Advance emulator that they supply, and then plugged in like the GBA, like the Final Fantasy Advance games. I was like, man, that would be cool to play through 4 again.
That is so cool.
And yeah, and then like a lot of like Exophase is a site. As Meta Gamer Score is going away this month, which sucks. But Exophase.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I won't be number 1 anymore?
You will once you move to Exophase. What?
Wait, so you haven't checked since I joined the group then?
Oh no!
Are you serious?
Bastard.
Yeah, I was like
I'm going right back
ahead of you.
No way!
Oh hell no!
Hold on, let me bring it up real quick. Let me see here.
Oh no, I've been defeated. Holy shit! Damn you, Anthony.
Let me see. Where?
Oh no, that's awesome, dude. Wow.
My cruise. All right, hold on. Let me look at this real quick. Where's the top list? Here we go. Holy shit. Yeah. Well, that pushed me further down. So yeah, now I'm hanging out at number 6. The thing is though, is like Mike, he's at number 11. Like he's pulling up the rear behind everybody else. And that just can't be real. Unless, he's one of those 1 achievement per game motherfuckers because he's moving on to the next thing. I figure Assassin's Creed, he's got everything. But yeah, so this Metagamer Score is going away at the end of this month. Exophase is what I've been moving to. But Exophase also tracks Origin and Retro achievements, in addition to PSN, Xbox, Steam. But they don't track the MMOs like Retro or Metagamer Score does. So yeah, hopefully that changes. And I don't know if I can create a group in it the same way. We'll see.
I'll just let Ernesto join, and then I'll join 2 years later.
And just destroy all my self-confidence. That's awesome.
That is, oh my God.
I just joined that site because you invited me 2-3 months ago or something.
Yeah.
And now it's dying.
Yeah, well, and
it's dying because of you.
It's probably dying because I use an ad blocker.
Me too, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, but anyway, it'll be interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned E3. we're getting into that time of year where my brain starts churning in terms of E3 because I'm like, yeah, because as soon as E3 ends, I go into like a sort of a minor depression for like a couple of weeks where I'm like, this thing I've been waiting all year for has happened and now it's over.
Right.
And so like I console myself by
everything leading up to it. You're like, okay, I gotta plan my vacation days.
Yep.
I'm gonna go get these type of food for this day. I get pizza for one day, Chinese for the next, and then I have my 3 screens and I'm watching all the streams. Like, oh, it's so good, and then it ends, and you're like, okay, I guess next year.
Well, and so what I do is I console myself. So like when I go into E3, I build. I don't know if you guys use the software application OneNote. It's from Microsoft. It's a great note-taking software. But I actually use it to organize all my E3 notes. And so as soon as I find out someone's date and time for their press conference, I plug it in there. You know, when I find out that a publisher is officially going to have a booth, I put it in there. And yeah, and so I start actually building that like the day after E3 ends for the next year because they announced on the Thursday, the last day of E3, they actually announced the next year. And though I think that their lease is like going to end soon with the it's attached to the Staples Center. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, so there's talk that they may move back to Atlanta. And so we'll see. Because E3 started out at Atlanta. It was there for a bunch of years.
Back in the 90s, right?
Yeah, and then in the late 90s, I think, they moved to LA. And then there was the one oddball year where they're up in Santa Monica, and it was totally lame. But anyway, yeah, so E3 brings up an important thing that we had a fairly lively discussion about in the public house and amongst ourselves about fucking Anthem. So this, God, I wish Jay would fucking be on the show once, just so he could yell at me, you know, like in real life. You know, because he and I love each other to death, but we really piss each other off when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because yeah, he's like, just be nice, and I'm like, I have feelings, dude. I have feelings, especially when it comes to BioWare. I am very fragile. So. As many people know, BioWare is the greatest developer that's ever existed. This has been not necessarily the case in recent years, and in my opinion, because of like EA being being Andrew Wilson's EA. So why are we talking about this? Because it came out yesterday that Anthem is pushed to fiscal Q4 2018, which is calendar Q1 2019. Anytime I hear about a game coming out at the very end of fiscal Q4, I point at that game and I go, that is going to be pushed out the door, whether it's done or not.
Yep.
And that's what happened to Mass Effect, like Andromeda. And, you know,
it looks like it's like, okay, we can push this game until this day. That's not going to be enough. Tough luck.
Yeah. And in the case of Anthem, though, they're fucking stupid if they push it unfinished because, as I understand it, a lot of EA and BioWare's future is riding on this game. Because I'll tell you what,
but they don't give a crap about BioWare's future. They don't give a crap about any other company's future.
But Andrew Wilson's future is riding on Anthem. I guarantee it, because they've had a string of major flops, like big, like dominating the press type flops, like where when I see EA in Business Insider or The Motley Fool or something like that, I'm like, oh shit, like people are actually paying attention. And sure enough, like EA's stock price got hammered after Battlefront 2. And so Andromeda was a high profile flop. Even though, actually, no, let me rephrase that. It sold well. It just didn't, the word of mouth on it was toxic. Battlefront 2, I don't know if it sold under a forecast.
Way under, yeah.
Did it? Okay. And so that's one where not only are shareholders going, huh, that's also one where Disney is looking at their exclusivity deal with EA and going, this was a bad decision. And we are not going to renew it. Now, that's not to say that they're not going to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? There's still a few years left on that. But then you get to Anthem. And it was interesting because actually, when I was talking to people about it outside of the rejects today, they were like, what? What's Anthem? And I'm going, oh, EA might have a twofold problem here.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to E3, this is way early, like absurdly early. But I think about EA's press conference the last 2 years, and I don't know what you guys think, but in both times I was like, this was terrible. And this isn't just me piling on EA. I want EA to do well because at the time I wanted Visceral to do well because I wanted Dead Space, and I'm a BioWare fanatic, and so I'm like,
remember that year when I was the guy on the desk, like, oh hey guys, yeah, I'm working on Mass Effect right here.
Yeah,
we can't show you anything, but here's the offices. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, well, you and
trailer.
everybody else. Well, and like I remember at that moment, I'm like, as soon as I saw that, at that time, they were saying holiday that year. And so E3 is in June, and Christmas is in December, and the game needs to come out before Christmas. And so that means October, November, probably November. So that's 5 months away, and you got some motherfucker at a desk going, well, I'm still building the basic parts of the game. And I'm going, this shit's not coming out this year. It's just not. And I'm like, that's fine. Just quit lying to me. And sure enough, like a few weeks out from N7 day, they're like, oh, guess what? And like, yeah, early next year. And then it dropped, I want to say like a week before the close of fiscal year. And yeah, anyway, so E3 this year, you got to figure what, like they're probably going to do another Battlefield. I'm guessing we're going to get Battlefield 5. Or no, Battlefield 1, because they alternate Battlefield and Battlefield.
No, the rumor is it's going to be Battlefield Bad Company 3.
Oh my God, I would actually love that. I hate to say that, but fuck.
And Call of Duty is going to be Black Ops 3.
No, they had a Black Ops 3.
Yeah, they already got a Black Ops.
Black Ops 4 then, I guess. Whatever.
Huh.
It's going to be a Black Ops. That's the rumor.
Yeah, actually, the Bad Company games are my favorite in terms of the Battlefield series.
They were fun, but I never finished them.
I can't remember, which means I probably didn't finish either of them. I know that actually the first one was a console exclusive.
Yeah, I had it on, I want to say 360. Yeah, it was on 360. The second one was gorgeous on PC, actually, when it came out.
Yeah, I have that. And actually have the second one, the Vietnam expansion. Or no, it wasn't Vietnam. But I had a Vietnam expansion. But anyway, there was a point in the second one where your group of guys is going through the jungle, right? And one of them's like, dude, you ever seen Predator? And then another guy's like, whatever he says. And the guy's like, dude, this looks just like Predator. And like, I'm waiting. Anyway, it was this whole hilarious like bit of like side chatter where I was like,
yeah, it had very solid characters. Like it was cool.
And so they do more of that. So anyway, so you got to figure their EA's E3 presentation is going to ride on Battlefield, Bad Company 3, and then Anthem. And like Anthem is the one I think it may overshadow everything else because that's their Destiny. I don't want to say clone, but like their answer to it. And on top of that, they got to be looking close at Bungie and Activision struggling with the community. And hopefully they're learning something from that. Now, the thing with Anthem that was really interesting, the game's been in development since 2012. And the doctors have been gone, God, for a number of years now. So Aaron Flynn was the GM after the doctors left. And it seems like, and I don't know Aaron Flynn, I don't know anything about him, I don't know anything about him. But it seems like development, specifically with Frostbite, was extremely, or has been extremely difficult for BioWare. They keep, and like the developers that have left the studio keep saying Frostbite is a terrible engine for RPGs.
Yep.
Like, and
they're forced to use it time and time again.
Yeah. And so it seems like since Aaron Flynn left and Casey Hudson stepped in, and Casey Hudson, for those who don't know, was the lead guy on Mass Effect 1 through 3. And those games turned out pretty well. So now he's the studio head. Seems like development for Anthem, like the word on the street is that it's going better now. But if Anthem launches next year, that is a 7-year development cycle. Which, holy God, that's a lot. And on top of that, so that's 7 years of sunk cost. And this is supposed to do for EA what Destiny was supposed to do for Bungie and Activision. Because do you guys remember Destiny was supposed to be a 10-year game? You remember that?
Yeah, and now they admitted the other day that they just don't know how to fix the problem. I'm like, whoa, okay, you guys are screwed.
And so I keep thinking, like, is that kind of game even possible?
Yeah.
I mean, well, if you're an MMO, yeah.
If
yeah.
Blizzard,
if you're WoW.
Well, not even just WoW.
Go for 20.
If you want to look at being able to extend a game far longer than it should have been, look more towards Diablo 3.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Like, that was a game that when it came out, people found time and time again things to absolutely hate about it.
Yep, I remember.
And they changed it on the fly. And they
one of the best recoveries in gaming history. Like,
definitely
from everybody hating it to be like this amazing game to play.
To even I have some
friends
that still play it, and they only play the console version. Like, they have beefy PCs, but they prefer the console version of it, which is just crazy because they like
the
dodge button and crap.
I have it on PC, but man, that PS4 version just feels so good to play with the control and everything. And I have friends that still do those I forgot the name of it, but those the seasons.
Oh yeah. Them. Well, and Diablo 3, for those keeping score at home, will be 6 years old this year.
Oh, look at that.
And yeah, and like they dropped the Necromancer pack last year. People really liked it. And,
it was really cool.
I mean, and like Diablo 3 is still chugging along. And then the WoW, God, WoW's 13 years old now. Maybe a little. Actually, hold on, I got it right here.
Must be, yeah.
I think it launched in 2005.
2004. It'll be 14 years old this November. And that was one, actually, if you guys recall, the World of Warcraft launch was terrible. Like, I remember Penny Arcade.
Yeah, everybody was ordered not to sell it.
Yeah, and then like Penny Arcade roasted them for days. And then Blizzard did the smart thing where they invited Mike and Jerry from Penny Arcade and a few other like people who were beating the shit out of them, saying, "Hey, we're going to talk to you. We're going to apologize. We're going to refund this and that. But we want to invite you to come back." And then everyone was like, "Oh shit, it's fixed now." And then 14 years later. So, but yeah, with Destiny and with Anthem and like now Destiny 2, because Destiny came out in 2014. So this game was supposed to go till 2024. Destiny 2 came out.
That was
2 years
ago? 2 months ago.
Was it? No.
Yeah, Destiny 2?
Did
was
it really?
September.
No, maybe an expansion. Hang on. You're so wrong. No, you're right. Okay, September 2017. Apparently, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's not new anyway. So what? So Destiny 1 lasted 3 years? Yeah. So the 10-year game became a 3-year game. And Anthem is supposed to do the same thing for EA, except be successful. I don't know that the MMO shooter is a sustainable model for the 10-year game. I mean, it's just like people, because it's the same problem.
It's the problem that it's a shooter, because shooter-wise, Destiny is like top tier gameplay mechanics. It just feels great to play. It's just the problem is the content.
The what?
The content.
And it's interesting. Like,
there's no
So go back to Diablo though. So Diablo has sustained longer than Destiny, but the gameplay loop of Diablo is far more simplistic. And what's the only thing that they've done? They did seasons, which is basically like, hey, wouldn't you like to start at level 1 over
Yeah.
and over and over?
True.
And that worked, which is odd. Like that's the gameplay loop that they just stuck with the same thing, but they're like, how about you play our game from the start every now and then?
And it's interesting is SWOTOR borrowed from that, where SWOTOR has occasional events called Dark versus Light, where it's a similar kind of thing. You start a new tune and you play through that season and you get XP at a higher rate, but you also unlock shit. And it's cool. Like I did that. What in SWOTOR it was really fun. I was doing shit I'd already done before, but I had a good time. And then Destiny, I played a fair amount of the first game because I was like, oh, this is really unique and interesting, and I just fell off. I mean, I played through a fair amount of the campaign, and then one day I just never touched it again, and I didn't care.
Yeah. And my issue with the second one is I booted the second one and I'm like, wow, this is exactly Destiny 1. I'm seeing nothing different. I'm done. And I
Yeah.
sold it. I traded in.
That's how I felt. I mean, I kept it because my oldest boy just really liked it for like 3 months, and then Battlefront 2 actually displaced it. So you take like one perceived failure and replaced it with another perceived failure, and now he's not playing either. Now he's just playing VR stuff. So, but yeah, like I said, I don't know that this model works. Now, if Anthem brings
wait, so let's liken this to another completely different industry. Isn't it the same thing as DC coming in and saying, we have a film universe for you?
Oh,
I mean, that's the same crap that they're saying with this game. This game is so incredible, you're gonna love it for the next 10 years. And it's like, well, we haven't played it yet, so how can you say that?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because Destiny, it was fairly popular for a bit, and then it kind of hit this wave, and then after a while it was like Lawrence and Ben playing it, like fellow rejects, and like nobody else.
Destiny had a weird arc where everybody was like, this feels like they rushed it, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
And they admitted cutting out the story. That's right.
And then it got to a point where people played it more because they could see that it was getting better and they could see the promise. There's the one expansion that actually had a really good story. And I say this coming from somebody that didn't play the first game.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody was hyped on what 2 could be, but then 2 came out and basically incorporated, from what I read, it incorporated only, like, let's say there's a ton of quality of life changes to 1. It incorporated like 75% of them. So it's almost like people got in and they're like, well, you're asking us to take a step back. Screw that. It's not worth it.
Right.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. The way that they went about everything, I think that they were on the right path, but you can't ask people to take a step back when you're charging them for a brand new game, and then wait the same way that they had been waiting the whole time.
Yeah, like not every game can be Final Fantasy 14. Like that's one.
That's another one of like a ton of reboots.
Well, what was amazing about 14 was the fact that Square Enix invested the time and money to save it. And because I was one of the day one people, and I was like, well, this is a bit shit, but I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to make a character that is only a crafter and just somehow make that work. And I got really bored of that after like 2 weeks. Also, the game ran like shit. It ran like absolute shit. I mean, it was almost unplayable. And and then Square Enix goes, tell you what, we're going to stop charging for subscriptions. You guys keep playing as much as you want. We're going to go rebuild the entire goddamn game. And they did. And after they did, like it's one of the only games that's around that's successful that is subscription only. And the fact that they're subscription only makes them unique because everyone else has that terrible free to play option. And yeah, so with Anthem, like I said, I mean, if BioWare can bring the BioWare to this, it might work. Because like one of the biggest complaints about Destiny is that like the content cadence sucks, but also just that the narrative is kind of trash. And I don't know. I mean, especially the first one. The second one, maybe the story's better. I have no idea. I couldn't tell what was going on, honestly. Because my son makes me play it every so often, and I have no idea what's happening. And yeah, and I'll tell you what. Like one of the things that I would love if they did with Anthem is if they did novels and shit with it, because I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. But also like build up the world. Like that's one of the things with Destiny that didn't hook me at all. Was I was like, I think this looks cool, but I have no idea what's going on, and none of it is put in any context.
They did one story exposition cutscene at the very beginning, and then that's it.
Yep. And then whereas Mass Effect, they actually released a novel before the first game.
And what I hate about Destiny is that the story, it's either talking with an NPC, which is boring, or they're talking over while you're fighting stuff. And I'm like, I'm shooting stuff. I can't listen to you right now. And then at the end of the screen, they're also talking to you, but you have that mission complete screen with the drops and how you did, and you're looking at that. So you're every time they're talking to me, I'm not paying attention.
So we
I don't know.
Talked about Destiny more because I can tell the frustration. I'm just happy I never really got roped into it. And really the success stories are more from people that had to tear down the game and build it back up. I mean, when you look at like Diablo 3 or FF14, it's just like games just don't last. And when they're built to force, if you build a game to force people to, or with the expectation that it's going to take that long, or you want it to last that long, a lot of times you build in systems that are not good for the player because you are artificially assuming that somebody's going to play this for 5 years, so it's cool to have something that'll take 5 years to unlock.
Never works.
Yeah, it's just you're not building a game at that point, and that's where I worry with what they're trying to do with this, and I think that's what hurt Destiny also, like right out the gate.
Well, and actually, SWOTOR, one of the craziest things with that at launch, I actually took, and you can judge me all you want, I took a week off of work for the SWOTOR launch. And I'm glad I did. I had a fantastic time. But I also, I'd play like 6 to 8 hours a day in chunks throughout the day, and then like do other things. Where, like, I guess, I know that SWOTOR was in development for a while, and I'm sure BioWare did some research, but BioWare was shocked that people blew through all of the content in a week. And they for some reason, like they were honest about it. They're like, we thought it'd be months before people had gone through everything. And the community was like, have you ever seen an MMO? And and it's interesting because like BioWare and EA have to be paying attention. Like they have to look back at that, and they have to be looking at Destiny. And I'll be honest, I don't even understand all the issues with Destiny 2. Like, again, I wish we had Ben or Lawrence in here because they have like PhDs in Destiny, and they're able to like spell out the specific issues and like not be like rabid dogs about it, where they're like, yeah, I'm annoyed by it, but and so anyway, yeah, I don't know if you guys have any handle on the Destiny 2 issues, or like
just high level, just the general complaints that I heard. But
which like what?
No, that's what I was saying, that it felt like it didn't incorporate all the lessons learned from the first game when they released
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. It looks like they didn't learn anything. And when I saw that article the other day saying like, oh, we just don't know how to make this work, I'm like, whoa, okay, I guess
that quote had to be Luke Smith. That had to be.
Yeah, for like, sure, man.
Because like he gets pissy and just says shit, and his level of sarcasm is unreal.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Anthem and what can they do to make it work? And I don't know the answer. I just they need to make a solid game, and like you said, expand on the story, make it an interesting world. Do books, do comics, do shit to get me interested in the world. And
So, but that's another thing that I think was somewhat of the downfall of Dead Space, is they went into it saying we're going to have this whole media empire around this game, and you're going to want to read the comics, and you're going to want to read the book, and you're going to want to watch the animated show, and it's like don't go into it assuming that we want all this crap. Like, make something that we love first.
But I love the anime and the movie and the book and the comics and the Wii shitty game and the 1 and 2. The downfall of Dead Space. What's the third one?
Dude, you know what though? Okay, here you go. So I was thinking, like, so when I was at PAX South and I was looking at the VR stuff, I'm like, what VR experience would I want? And then I thought about Dead Space Extraction. I was like, Dead Space Extraction, you feel me? In VR would be amazing.
Yes.
Oh my god, I was like, I want that. So, but oh wait, Dead Space is gone.
Yeah.
They would have had
the
to
studio
have
that made it.
controls. Oh god,
I played it on PS3.
Now I'm thinking, what the hell killed Dead Space? Because it was the third one. They added co-op. They added a lot of DLC or needed stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened with that game, but it was just.
Well, no, it was the Call of Dead Space thing. That's what people were calling it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played through it. Now, what sucks is the DLC for it. I think it's called Severed. Was phenomenal. Like it took the series back to where it needed to go, and it was highly effective and amazing.
Or 3?
Yeah, the DLC for it.
Never played it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I never played it.
And the ending for the DLC positioned the series in a really interesting way, where I was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for 4." And then
it never happened.
Andrew Wilson's like, whoop, and
so here's a weird thing, just because I thought of it with Dead Space Extraction, just because I had the Wii version of it. I actually tried to play Metroid Prime Trilogy. I had bought it when it was like $10 or something for the Wii U. And it was just one of those things where my son was seeing the icons on the thing, and he was like, why don't you ever play that game? And I was like, I don't really know. And my God, playing anything with the Wiimote. Everybody says I should love the Metroid Prime Trilogy, but that has the weirdest control scheme I have ever used in my life.
Actually, I think the word you're looking for is bad.
Yeah. Even me playing it on the Dolphin with the original controls, it feels better than that Wii version.
I don't get it. It's just like, oh, you want to look, like holding the, oh, you want to scan, like hold this and do this. And it's one of those games that it's like, unless I was staring at, like, yeah, you have to only play that game and nothing else the entirety of the playthrough, because otherwise I don't know how you could remember the controls.
Yeah. So the last thing about Anthem, then we'll finally quit kicking that dead horse, is I feel like games that are going to come out in the first 3 months of the following year are in a weird spot, because E3 typically now is, like 80%, here's what's coming before Christmas. And then, seems like publishers have wisely scaled back how much they're going to show for games that are past Christmas.
The other thing that I thought of that I was going to circle back to, what you mentioned, it's just like how nobody in general public knows about it.
Right.
Think about the struggle with that. So look at some of the major new IPs that just floundered, like Titanfall. Great game.
Yeah.
But most people just don't know about it. Now, granted, that's competing against like a Call of Duty, but
they released 2 at a totally stupid time.
Yeah, that was another weird thing. But the first
they killed
game,
it with their own game.
Well, when it came out on Xbox One, like that was the big game, but nobody really outside core gamers knew about it. Yeah, and then you have something like Horizon Zero Dawn, which they handled that, I think, pretty well. Like I think that the first sales were great, and that had long legs just because it was a good game. But what other new IPs have really broken through in quote unquote the masses? Like I I have a friend who just bought Horizon Zero Dawn like a couple months ago because he was like, I kind of heard about it, but I didn't know really what it was. And he saw it on sale. I think it was on sale for PS Plus for like $20 recently or sometime around Christmas.
No, but that's a really interesting point though, because like Horizon Zero Dawn is the only new IP I can think of from like the last couple of years that really transcended uh, so-called gamers, where people outside of gaming at least were, yeah, I don't know, but it's interesting. Like side note about Horizon Zero Dawn, I wonder if that benefited from getting buried by Zelda and Mass Effect and whatever else, because everyone bought it and then no one played it for like 6 months, and then you get to the end of like the fall, people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play that now, and then like, oh, this is actually a pretty great game, and then then there's the expansion, right? They're like, yeah, fuck, I'll go and get that.
And then the Game Awards, everything was perfectly placed. And
well, except it didn't win anything.
Right, but it didn't win anything. But I think they overall won because a lot of people bought and played it.
You know what game so a game that doesn't quite hit Horizon Zero Dawn's level, but came close, was Hellblade. I think like Hellblade at least absorbed the gaming community, and kind of out of nowhere too. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard it's quite delightful. I've heard it addresses some pretty tough topics in a really great way.
Yeah.
Also, seeing it at the Alienware booth at PAX South on like the 3 4K monitors.
Yeah,
oh my God, that was amazing.
So, do you think that that's going to pose another problem too? I mean, Destiny was a new IP, but they advertised the hell out of that. Like that, you'd see ads before movies for Destiny.
So
yeah.
Here's the thing with that. EA is going to have EA has the budget and the talent to spread the word about the game. However, making people actually want to play it despite it being an EA game is going to be the trick.
And that's why I brought up Titanfall, because that's the closest thing with like a new IP that they were trying to sell to the public, and they failed. Activision succeeded a lot more with Destiny, and I can't really tell you why. It's just, I guess it was just better received on the whole.
Yeah, I mean, and like one of the things that was so weird at E3 last year was EA was trying to obfuscate BioWare. Like they like at the presentation for Anthem, they really tried to downplay the fact that it was a BioWare game, and I was like, no, you need to be doing the opposite. Because they were like, and like the chatter behind the scenes was, well, with all the Mass Effect Andromeda stuff, BioWare is something we don't want to talk about. And I'm like, dude, the best thing you could be doing is showing confidence in BioWare, putting them front and center, because even though Andromeda may have not been received the way that everyone told you it was going to be, you're fucking EA and everyone hates you.
And I think a lot of people blame EA for Andromeda, saying that they were the ones that rushed it out before it was ready. Because after a few patches, it didn't, from what I understand, and this is another one that I didn't pick up just because of everything that was out and what I heard initially. From what I understood, though, after those patches, it didn't live up to the original series, but it certainly wasn't like a pile of dog shit.
No, I was so ready for the next one. And, and I get killed every time I say this, but like I didn't have that many technical issues. I had some flickering with lighting and some really at annoying times, and then I had a cutscene where a glass of wine was missing from someone's hand, and like that's it. Like I didn't have any of the weird, goofy animation stuff. I don't know if that's because I was playing on a better rig than most people. I really don't know.
But I mean, minor visual things aren't a big deal. And I mean, hell, in Horizon, I've seen people pray and they're like levitating off the ground by a couple feet.
Right. No, but the stuff that the YouTubers that feed off of hate were posting were like outrageous. Like it was crazy shit. I don't know if it was. I don't know what it was. But to your point, and this I'm not going to re-review the game here. The first third was really slow. the second two, like the second, third, and third, whatever you want to call it, were great. They were absolutely fantastic. The first third is a bit of a slog at times, but then there's a point in the game where it just takes off. And it's funny, you can almost see where in development, and like, I know that they don't develop it chronologically like that, but it's almost as if they did, where like the first third was just.
Are we less tolerant of that than we were?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm trying to play KOTOR 2. My God, the beginning of the game is terrible.
I told you that. I was like, if you get past the beginning, I'll be impressed. Yeah, it's awful. Like the opening of KOTOR 2 is like one of the worst openings to a great game ever. And yeah, no, but like with the Anthem though, like I was saying, if it's hitting Q1 2019, you know, like those games, it's odd. Like they're awkward at E3 because they generally either don't show or there's not a lot to see. And then after E3, you got Gamescom, but Anthem, I mean, they'll show, I mean, Anthem is they're targeting the U.S. and Europe, and no one in the U.S. cares about Gamescom except for me. And then there's Paris Games Week, and only Sony really does that. And then you got Tokyo Game Show. Obviously, that's not going to have a presence there. And then your last hope is the Game Awards / PSX. And so if you don't show at E3, the number of eyeballs on your product, I mean, it's much smaller. And
you know what though, you can always work around that. So what you can do is, and what a lot of the games are doing now is you have an open beta. When you're ready, you advertise that in the ads. You do the late night circuit. Like I want to say Destiny did that as well, where they were hitting like some of the late night shows and actually getting promoted on there.
You know what Bungie did actually? They did streams. They did Twitch streams.
Yeah, so I think that there are
I
ways
love it when
to
companies
work
do
around.
Yeah.
There are ways, if your game is good enough, there are ways to get it out there no matter when it's releasing.
You know who did a really smart thing 2 years ago, I think it was? Right before E3, Square Enix did a stream just for Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Yes, I remember that.
It was so smart because they were able to take a moment and get a bunch of eyeballs on their game, and they hyped the hell out of the stream, where they're all over Twitch and Facebook and everything. They hyped the hell out of that stream. It showed really well on that stream. It was right before E3, and so you're like, oh, yeah, Deus Ex. And then they did the demos with IGN and GameSpot and all that stuff. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
If the game is good, first quarter is the way that a new IP can break through. Even look at, you mentioned Horizon Zero Dawn, or even RE7. Would RE7 have gotten the same shake as it did if it was released alongside the Call of Duty entry and all that crap in like November?
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I mean, it's and I guess like E3. Well, and this is a whole other topic, but yeah, E3 has changed, and I'm so curious to see what EA does this year, because I cannot believe for a moment that no one has told them how bad their last two pressers have been. Like, they've been awful, frankly. This year, and like they've had the shit kicked out of them, over the last calendar year.
They sort of sell off their big games to be part of the other conferences, though, too, which is a little odd. Because
they don't do E3 anymore. Like, they're right before E3. Like, they don't. They have nothing.
Yeah, but even for that, like, they always sell off to either Microsoft or Sony. Like,
oh, you mean show their game on the stage?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're not selling out. They're having their game shown. Yeah, I mean, they have their own presser, but yeah, you're right. Like, they'll show. They showed Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
On Sony. Yeah.
And then they had when the Call of Duty flips back and forth, whether it's in the Sony presser or the Microsoft one.
No one cares anymore. Actually, it's I will say, like, there was one highlight of the EA presser last year, and that was Janina Gavankar doing the Battlefront 2 stuff. Like, she was dynamite, and she was awesome. She was great. She's even better on the Giant Bomb show later that night.
She's great everywhere she shows up. She wasn't up at noon the other day for IGN.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, she's great. She did the voice for the audiobook of the Inferno Squad book.
That's right. Yeah, I remember
She
hearing
did
that.
a big job. I really like her. But yeah, they need stuff like that, you know.
And I would say last year was a little better than the year before. I remember the year before the Titanfall 2 thing leaked like minutes before the presser. And that was the opening of their press conference. And oh, by the way, it was the best part. And the rest of it, yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, Andromeda, yeah, about that. It's in development. Moving on. Oh, and then the 45 minutes of FIFA, which, fuck, dude, it's so bad. But anyway, E3 is a ways off. We have plenty of time to calm down. At least I have time to calm down. And
I know down the line we'll have a speculation only podcast. Hopes and
yeah,
dreams.
dude. No, we'll probably have a couple of them, man.
I'm really looking forward to it.
So I don't know, dude. So yeah, between now and June, between now and E3, what game are you guys most excited for?
God of War, probably.
Yeah,
Now
God
that
of
it's
War.
specified for April.
Yeah, God of War I was not excited at all until that last trailer. Holy hell, does it look amazing.
I haven't even watched the newer one.
No, I was like, I don't know about it, but then I saw that trailer. Man, you really should see it. It's fantastic.
If it spoils anything, once I'm sold on something, I just don't watch any more of it, or I don't seek it out per se, just because especially something that's story driven, like something like a fighting game or whatever. I'll look up as much media on the characters, but something that's as story driven as that, once it sells me that yes, I want to play this, I try not to seek out too much on it, just because how is that going to help me? It's like you already got me. I'm gonna see it when it comes out. And
I don't know, man. Go ahead.
I'm a little bit of a hypocrite on it because I'm completely opposite for TV or movies. I was like, oh, a new Rebels mid-season trailer. For absolutely no reason do I need to watch this trailer, but I'm gonna watch it anyway.
It was hot. It was great.
Yeah, now you know why I texted you right after.
Yeah, yeah. It was like Lincoln and I watched it, and we about shit ourselves at the end. But no, but my only beef with God of War is that it's clearly a Dante's Inferno clone.
How so?
I'm joking.
No, he's making a joke.
I'm totally kidding. It's though that they both have tits in them. So
got it. I just got it. I can stupid now.
Oh God, remember that had an anime, didn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome actually.
I don't. Tony and I watched. Fuck, I think I owned that. God.
Yeah, we watched that. It was just that was
odd.
I don't remember much of that.
For me, the game I'm most excited is Ni no Kuni 2. Like, I love the first one. This one, I have a lot of doubts because it's not level 5 is not as involved anymore, and I'm not even sure to what extent are they involved because it's not being developed. I mean, it looks like they're not having a hand in the art, but Joe Hisashi, which is a composer for Studio Ghibli. Oh wait, hold on. I meant to say Studio Ghibli is not involved in Ni no Kuni. I just realized what I was saying. No, it's a level 5 game.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Studio Ghibli is not involved as much as in the first, except for the music being done by Joe Hisashi, but the art's different and the gameplay's different. It's no longer the Pokemon-esque that it was on the first one. It looks to be more Final Fantasy. Tales of series, but with Pikmin, I guess. But I'm excited. If it turns out to be an awesome RPG for me to jump into and spend 100 hours, I'll be happy.
Yeah, Pillars 2. Oh my God! Like, I've mentioned it a few times. There was that magical winter where it was Dragon Age Inquisition, Pillars 2, and The Witcher 3.
I never seen you so happy, man. You were so happy.
I had like wall to wall amazing gaming, even though in a separate podcast, I'll get into my evolved criticism of Dragon Age Inquisition. But Pillars 2, like the first Pillars of Eternity was like a rescue for me. Like I felt rescued from modern gaming. Like, but it was the perfect marriage of old design concepts and new design concepts, where there was stuff that they were able to bring into that they were the first ones to do, like in 2014, whenever it came out, 2015, whenever it was. And yeah, and it was just like, I was like, oh my God, like I'm getting the satisfaction out of this that I'm getting out of reading an amazing book, but also playing an amazing RPG. And I was really able to role play in it. And that was really amazing. And then Pillars 2 looks to be kind of like the Divinity Original Sin 2 thing, where they're addressing a lot of my gripes. And getting to talk to Mikey and Christina from Obsidian at PAX South, it was so great being able to actually ask someone with firsthand knowledge, what about this? What about this? What about this? And they knew everything. And
well, it should.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but like even like the really nitty gritty stuff, we're like, and I'll be as polite as I can here. Mikey is a community manager, not a developer, but he knew. I mean, well, he's a community manager, so he has to know the shit. But yeah, but then Katrina was like, anyway. Pillars 2 is gonna fucking rock my world, and my perfect summer that I have envisioned in my head is like nothing awesome comes out after Pillars 2 until like August or September, and my summer is entirely Pillars 2 and Final Fantasy 15, where I finally get to take FF15 at my own pace, instead of the chaos that surrounds my TV in my house. And yeah, I mean, it's and hopefully I can finally come to grips with that battle system in 15. I really struggled with that.
I wonder how it's going to play out on PC. It should be interesting. You should stream it, dude.
No, I will. And yeah, and actually, I'm going to plug my Xbox controller into my PC for it. Like,
okay.
I mean, unless there's like, very rarely do you want to play a Japanese game with mouse and keyboard on PC. Like, I've yet to play a Japanese game where that's the case. They just control like shit with mouse and keyboard. And like, also the Japanese have that thing where you like the PC controls have to be so that you can smoke while playing it. And I'm not kidding. That's the thing. And so the controls like oftentimes won't even factor in the mouse. Like they'll be like arrow keys and then like random, I don't know, like they've never seen a keyboard before. But anyway, 15 might be different. Also, I think 15 is going to have Steam Workshop support.
Oh, cool.
And I remember as I kind of went off on whatever dude, or the guy who rescued the game from Nomura. I can't remember his name. Tabata.
Tabata, yeah.
Yeah. Tabata-san was like, yeah, we're looking at Steam Workshop support. And then like the American reporter's like, well, what about tits and fucking? And he didn't literally say that, but he was like, that like Americans.
Yeah, what about the nude patch? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, and like American PC gamers are like the worst people in the world. And like, blonde girl from the garage is going to be having horrible things done to her. And then Tabata-san's like, well, I'm hoping, like, it was something along the lines of like, I'm counting on the goodness of humanity. I was like, have you met a PC gamer? Oh my God, like we are the worst people in the world. But yeah, so I'm just babbling at this point, but yeah, Pillars 2 is gonna rock my fucking world, and then hopefully in there I get time to play all the other shit that I'm apparently buying. So
what I want is what you want. Have a summer with no releases, but in my case, it would be to play Divinity Original Sin 2.
You will never finish that game.
I really want to jump in on that game, man.
If you finish that game, I will drive to Chicago and buy you dinner.
Really? Why?
Really?
Why is it so impossible for me to do it?
We'll see. Like just play through it and then you'll see.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, and you have a huge disadvantage.
Drive to Chicago and buy me dinner.
I'm not even kidding. But you have a huge disadvantage in that game too, which is you didn't play through the first one all the way.
Right.
And the first one, the combat, like you think you like punishing combat, play the first game. Like play through it all the way. And you will be screaming. So then you get to the second one, it's a little bit easier, but only if you play the first one. And it's funny. There's a line down the middle. Over here are the people that did not play the first one that are like, holy God, this game is so hard. On the other side, the people that did play the first one, they're like, oh my God, this is so much easier. So, you know, I love the game, and you will, if you play through it, you will agree it's one of the greatest games ever made. Hopefully you're able to play through it. But we'll see. And I can even give you some starter tips. You know, yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, cool. I want to put it on the docket at some point, but I just don't know when, because now with Monster Hunter and there's just so much stuff.
Actually, no, I can't look right now. I want to say I was 80 to 90 hours on Original Sin 2.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm also a completionist. And so and not even just a completionist. I spend a lot of time just dicking around. And yeah, so that it might actually be a 60-hour game. I don't know. But
well, I tend to also play way more time than the advertised time that people finish it, because every time I look at how long to beat, I do like 30% more time.
Yeah, me too. Well, in some games depends on but RPGs, I'm going way over. So that being said, let's start getting toward wrapping things up. Any final thoughts, guys? Not all at once.
E3 is gonna be awesome, and I can't wait. And I really do hope that if we get good announcements, they're stretched out so that I get more time with my backlog this year.
Yeah,
I want it to be just like now, chill, but with nice releases here and there.
I have to assume, especially for the Switch and for the Xbox One, that releases are going to be pretty thin. Because like the Switch last year was like, here's everything you ever wanted. And I'm like, and we all know how Nintendo works.
Well, the Switch we'll see a stream of quirky things like Labo, and we'll see every game that came out for the Wii U since we bought the Wii U. They'll be like, hey, check out this game that was great, but I almost guarantee you didn't play.
I'll tell you what, the fact that the Switch is getting Wasteland 2 makes me wonder if they're going to get something like Original Sin 2 on Switch. Because if they can figure out how to make Wasteland 2 play on it, they can definitely figure out how to make...
I couldn't get Wasteland to play on my PC, so...
Well, now, Wasteland 2 is, like, you can rotate the map. Yeah, because Pillars is a fixed perspective.
Yeah.
Like Pillars, you can't rotate the map. Wasteland 2 and Original Sin 2, you can.
I'm waiting for the port of XCOM, because you already have Mario and Rabbids on there.
Yeah,
Plus,
you know what?
They made XCOM on iPad, so...
It's on it's on Xbox One. I think it's on PS4 also. And
the biggest thing though, it's on iPad, so
right.
They could easily make a decent version on Switch. And
which one is on iPad? The second?
The first one is.
One.
Oh yeah, the first one is also on Vita, so they could totally get it working.
Oh my God, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like the last Western Vita game ever.
Also, everybody that has a Switch needs to get Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze if they never played it on the Wii U, which is everybody.
I've never even heard of it.
I'm bitter about that game because I had enough Nintendo rewards points from buying Wii U games to get that for free, and they had 2 different expiration dates of their rewards program, and I misunderstood one or the other. So I was supposed to get that for free, and I had it like in my cart or whatever, and I never redeemed it. And then it expired, like, it was something like they said, like, it was shutting down June 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
But redeeming of a Wii U game, you had to do by April 30th.
I remember that, yeah. The service was ending in June, but the redeeming of stuff was ending months before.
So
which didn't make sense at all.
Yeah, I lost all my points.
Oh,
that was enough to get Tropical Freeze.
Shit.
Because I was debating whether to get that. I had everything parsed out because I was going to get that and like a couple of classic Nintendo games like that. I think that's how I ended up. I don't know if that's how I got Metroid Prime Trilogy. But yeah, I was trying to parse it because you're like, it's ending, so I need to make whatever I'm getting add up exactly to how many points I have.
Right.
And that's why I kept screwing with it and why I put off getting it, and then they disappeared. I contacted Nintendo support, and they were just like, eh.
Screw you. What are you gonna do?
I was like, I bought a Wii U. I've suffered enough.
No, but man, I really do hope you pick it up. It's a fantastic Donkey Kong game, man. I really enjoyed it.
I just remembered
I
it.
never finished it.
So I got more actually. There's a Civ 6 expansion coming next month. So I'm totally fucked. Actually, Joel is too. So that's comforting. And like there's the Elder Scrolls Online release cadence. So like, yeah, there's going to be some huge expansion for ESO this summer. Fuck. So actually, which I'm very excited for. Like last year they added Morrowind. I'm excited to see what they add this year. But yeah, so we have 4.5 months till E3. The countdown's beginning apparently right about now. But I'm with you. Yeah, well, yeah, and like I know, like you and I go back and forth every E3, like leading up to it, like, oh my god, I'm so excited, and yeah, so I can't wait to have the discussion of like where we desperately try to figure out what the big, mind-blowing announcement's going to be that may happen. Actually, I don't know. I think this year is more likely than ever because I frankly have no idea what's coming out this holiday. Yeah, I really don't actually. Not Anthem. So
not Anthem.
At some point, it'll be a port of Smash Brothers for the Switch.
It's funny because Lincoln was like, if they release a Smash Brothers for Switch, we have to get it. And I was like, what do you mean if? And right. I was like, apparently there have been multiple games that are somehow different in a way that I can't tell. And he's like, oh my god, they're totally different. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So. And he even said that there's a preferred version for competitive players. I was like, okay.
Yeah, there's the Wii U version was the first one to overcharge for DLC.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to have that. So, yeah, you pay $5 to get Mario.
No, I think it's more expensive than that. I think it was like $8 a character or higher.
Oh my god, get the fuck out of here! Really?
Yeah, because they released Cloud, and I was like, but for that price, I was like, ugh. Because they had Ryu, they had Cloud, like they released some good, like cool characters.
Bayonetta.
But they were priced so ridiculously that I was just like, screw it.
And it's funny because months before they did the DLC packs for Mario Kart.
Those were good.
And those were great. It was, I don't remember the price. I think it was $9.99 or something, but it was like 4 additional cups. So it was like half the content of the original game. And it was a great prize. And I was like, whoa, Nintendo's doing DLC right. And then they did Smash, and I'm like, nope. They got greedy.
Yeah, it was something crazy where you got like you could buy both the DLC packs for Mario Kart together for like $16 or something weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get like 4 cups with 4 courses each or something, and you get like 8 new kart racers with like their special karts, and in that game you can mix and match the racers and the karts, and
it was awesome.
And then Smash Brothers was like Capcom DLC pricing, and you're like,
So apparently we did DLC wrong in the first one, but we got it right this time. No.
Those motherfuckers. So, all right. You guys ready to call tonight?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So everyone.
Monster Hunter in a few hours. Yeah.
So what?
Monster Hunter in a few hours.
Oh, hey, are you doing Kufed tomorrow?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. So it's 1:30.
I was really sick that day. Like I woke up like super dizzy. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me, man. So I couldn't stream last Friday, but tomorrow for sure, 12:30, going back in there.
12:30 p.m. Central, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time that is where you live, figure it out.
So next week's show, do we find out, next week's show, do we find out if your Christmas tree makes it to February?
No, actually, I'm lighting it up tonight as the last night because tomorrow I'm taking it down in the morning.
I'll believe when I see it. But actually, no, you know what? You should leave it up until like Thanksgiving.
And then have to put it back up again the next
Right. Yeah, just take it down for a day.
I'm taking it down. I'm taking it down.
Okay.
I do like it though. It's nice.
I do too. I think it's a nice visual. It's festive.
People are like, is this stream from December? What the hell?
See, that's a good thing, but like we can fuck with people and like, you know, like so like, you'll have something Easter in like November. So all right, so that's it. Thanks for watching the One Up Reject show. Don't forget to follow. Follow us on Twitch. Follow. We want to hit affiliate status. I was supposed to say this like 4 times prior to this, but oh well. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, but still go over to Twitch and follow anyway. So that's it. Good night. Good luck.
Bye.
And yeah, we'll see you at 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow / 12:30 p.m. Central.